Yuji Tadori. Let's see what you can finally do now that you've stopped dreaming. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil, and here we are to do a breakdown and review of chapter 256 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is known as the Decisive Battle in the Uninhabited Even-Fested Shinjuku, Part 28. But since I'm reading the officials, it's actually known as chapter 256 in Human Makio Shinjuku Showdown, Part 28. I mean, it's not a bad name. And that's the same issue of just being numbers. Like, we've really been here for 28 chapters plus the Kinjaku chapter. It's like what, 4 chapters? It's been 32 chapters. But with that being the case, there's a lot to talk about. There's some funny things in these officials that I do actually genuinely want to tackle. So let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, do you know that Satoru Gojo can't use Black Flash? Did you know that? Yeah, Satoru Gojo. You know, the guy who, like, reintroduced Black Flash as a system mechanic literally a solid 100+ chapters after we had basically thought Gege had forgotten about it, because we went the entire Culling games without a single Black Flash, despite how deeply locked in a lot of characters were. Yeah. Well, according to the first page of the official translations, do you really need me to explain? Wait, I can't read. I'm sorry, I'm illiterate. But do you really need for me to? Is it me being illiterate, or is the translation really just that bad? Do you really need for me to explain why I can't use Black Flash? I want to break things down for you. It's because of the 6 size. Now, to come to the defense of, I think it's John Wary. Yeah, translation John Wary. Because a lot of people have been clowning on bro for this. To be fair, the sentence could be perfect. It could be perfect if it wasn't for the second half of it. If it wasn't for the second speech bubble. And if it wasn't for I can't use it. If you could just say why I can't use Black Flash at will, then the first sentence would be fine. Because that's basically what the TCB scan said anyway. Because the question being asked was why can't you use Black Flash consistently? Okay? It's really the second bubble that I can't defend. Well, to break things down for you, it's because of the 6 size. That's like the opposite of what is actually meant to be said here. At least, once again, going off the TCBs and just general common sense, a lot of people would assume that Gojo could use Black Flash consistently because of the 6 size and because of his perception. But he specifically says, I can't use Black Flash because of the 6 size. Which is so... Like, and here's the thing. It's why you'll definitely find me iffy on using officials. Because, like, officials have some notorious bad translations. Like the 2 big ones that come to mind are now this one. This one has taken full precedence. And also the famous, the reason Satoru Gojo and Geto Suguru were so powerful and special grade sorcerers is because they both wield cursed armies. Yeah, Gojo definitely wields a cursed army, alright. But, like, with that being the case, I'll chalk it up to bad translations. That's it. And apparently he's notorious. Admittedly, I don't know too much about translation. Your boy can barely speak English nor read English, not to talk Japanese. But, like, apparently John Ware is just a very, very notoriously bad translator, which is unfortunate. And, like, does he just not get fact checked? Because, like, and did he not read the manga? Like, notably, because we see Gojo land Black Flash. And, like, I need to see what the rest of this says. Speaking of the rest of this, there is a 36-minute live reaction to this very chapter, which will be on the Patreon for as low as $1 a month, or you can become a member for as low as $3 a month to check out the 36-minute live reaction. But with that being the case, we see that Gojo goes down an explanation. I'll read the explanation because I still think it's funny, because, like, I think he goes on to contradict himself here in the officials. But with that being the case, Gojo explains, do you really need for me to... I swear I can read... Do you really need for me to explain why I can't use Black Flash? Well, I'll break things down for you. It's because of the 6 size. Black Flash is a distortion in space that arises when a sorcerer applies cursed energy within 0.00001% seconds of a physical blow. I feel like this is lacking as an explanation. If that's all there was to it, I should be able to do it at will. So yeah, he immediately goes to contradict himself. Like, I don't know. It is rough. It is rough. This panel is big. It's been memed to the high heavens. But yeah, once again, I do like this. I've seen people being mixed on the interpretation of Black Flash, but like, by explaining that even the basic definition on how it works is kind of wacky and funky and weird, it excuses the whole 2.5 times exponential multiplier also not being real. I know Gege addresses it in external materials, though. That's the big thing, because I've seen a lot of people being like, okay, that explains why every Black Flash in the entire series, with like rare exception, I think like the Hanami one, and then the Manito one, that explains why none of them seem to do any real serious damage, despite their literal crazy implications. Gege does address it as a 2.5 times multiplier in the volume extras, which it makes it a little weird, but like, I'm letting it slide. And I'll let Gojo explain that's not necessarily accurate, the definition or the application or anything about it. I'm going to let him essentially act as like an excuse for Black Flash. Because if I don't, I still will run into questions. And like, don't get me wrong, the implications of Black Flash, if they are to be taken at face value, are fantastic for the scaling of the verse. It's just that they don't make sense in context. Like, once again, Goodwill Yuji would be solar system level with his Black Flashes. I'm not kidding. He would be. He would be solar system level if you were to just actually do the 2.5 times exponential multiplier. I don't think I need to convince you that JJK ain't so. But with that being the case, we see that Gojo goes on to explain, imagine I throw a straight punch with cursed energy, right? There are 3 types of cursed energy that it possesses. 1, cursed energy reinforcing my fist. 2, cursed energy striking my opponent. And 3, cursed energy bearing those 2. So... once again, I do feel like this is a weird thing, because like, but it does make sense, notably because we see it, especially at the start of the Gojo vs. Sukuna fight. Characters don't just use cursed energy internally, they also do code it externally. We see this with Yuji and his massive big plumes of cursed energy, and that obviously led to Divergent Fist as a system mechanic, or like a Yuji mechanic. I wouldn't say it's a system mechanic, people could likely do it, but like, why would you? So this technically does make sense, but I feel like the third type should just be considered the impact point. Like, the merger between the two, I think it's a pretty much meaningless distinction, but in order to break down why Black Flash happens, I get why they do it, because, like, if you didn't, it would get weird. So you do have to introduce that third cursed energy type, even if I think it is, like, I'm not going to say redundant, but kind of redundant. It does feel a little bit weird. However, we do get to see that Gojo explains, also, the timing isn't the only thing. Blending these 3 can also cause a Black Flash to arise or not arise. No one except, for me, of course, can accurately adjust it. Furthermore, the blend changes according to the environment at the time, which includes the opponent's cursed energy and the condition of your own body. May sound funny, but I even think there are temperature and humidity impacts overall. After all, Black Flash is about space itself. In other words, there's no single right answer to the conditions for using Black Flash, which is why I think there's no straight contingent or actually accurate answer to how much it genuinely multiplies you. I'm doing it for my sanity, okay? Like, I can meme, don't get me wrong, I can meme. The memes are quite potent, too. Like, I'm genuinely thinking of, like, Goodwill Yuji one-shotting all of Dragon Ball with a Black Flash. And characters being able to, like, every JJK character who's bulkier than Hanami, which is a decent chunk of characters at this point, just eating solar system level attacks. Like, they could just stand there and Cell could solar Kamehameha them, and they'd just be like, ugh, that did a little bit of damage. Like, obviously, it's kind of crazy to think about. But, with that being the case, elaborating on Black Flash, it continues the pattern. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel like it's purposeful at this point. I don't think Gege is a bad writer or is doing this, like, accidentally. It is just a trend. Every single time something gets further explained, the weaker it becomes or the vaguer it becomes. It seems so backwards, right? Because, like, weaker, possibly, right? Like, you know, elaborating on Soul Split Katana and explaining how people who can perceive the soul can heal it. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Elaborating on the dismantles, okay, you know, it's a little bit whack, but it's still fine, But, like, we're even going down to system mechanics at this point. We're further explaining system mechanics, and they get weaker and less reliable, which is really unfortunate. It's a problem with JJK. I will, not necessarily, here's the thing, in universe it's not a problem. In fact, it's actually better. Going into the idea that these mechanics do have solid concrete explanations, we just don't get them at the time because one reason or another. I think that actually is good. I think that's good world building. It goes to show that this series does have established rules for the most part. It's just that we typically don't tend to understand those rules until Gege explicitly tells us, which I think allows for a freedom and flexibility in fights that's kind of necessary for JJK fights to function as they do. But at the same time, that clarification does damage a bit inverse. I think notably JJK is power based enough that inverse scaling is kind of mostly solid. Like Gojo and Sukuna aren't really affected by any of the nerfs that they receive. And even characters like Yuta Kotsu, while they do get some nerfs, once again, the conditions that they've already met override those nerfs. Like the eating condition for Yuta, like he's already eaten everything he needs from the verse itself. But once again, the issue you run into is cross-verse. Which I know doesn't matter for a lot of people, but like it's what immediately leaps to my mind. Like say hypothetically we were talking about like Sukuna versus the Seven Deadly Sins, knowing the extra crazy conditions that he needs to do to get World Slash off now, it's kind of a hefty nerf, especially in cross-verse battles, which is unfortunate, very, very unfortunate, but still, it'd be like that when it'd be like that, especially when it'd be like that. And Black Flash is a system mechanic getting nerfed like this, or not necessarily nerfed, but mystified again, I think actually works a lot in its benefit because of how it's supposed to act. It's supposed to be a system mechanic, like in video games. Like, well, to be fair, in video games, we know there are critical hit chances, critical hit modifiers, and stuff like that. And you can do things to guarantee critical hits. And like I mentioned in the spoiler discussion, in Fire Emblem, like, you can make crit builds depending on the game you're playing. Like, I'm thinking of Engage, I'm thinking of even Three Houses. I don't know too much about Awakening, and like its prime meta. I wasn't really paying attention to Fire Emblem deeply at that point, or for Fates, or for Shadows of Valentia, if that was even something you could do with Shadows of Valentia. But with that being the case, I think the mystification of it works. It makes it seem more vague and mysterious, and I do think, as much as I want explanations for a lot of stuff in JJK, because I think the more explanations the better, so we can actually better understand things, and so rules can be set down and we don't have to worry about vagueness, I think keeping something as dangerous and meaty and important as Black Flash super duper vague, it works overall. We see Gojo explain that, besides, when I fight seriously, the curse techniques intertwine with physical blows. In a situation like that, Black Flash is practically up to luck, even for me. The truth is, Nanami has done it more times consecutively than I have. However, to be fair, I'm more, in the total number. I'm, still more that guy. Plus, my fights end so quickly that I don't really get any chances to use it. Which does make sense on multiple levels. For the idea that Gojo can't use it once techniques get into it, I think that is still a bit weird. Like, his perception is noted to be really, really good. And, like, obviously he has atomic levels of curse energy control. So the fact that he can't use it at will, I think it's fine. I think it's fine, but the fact that he's so worried about curse techniques getting into it and, like, basically saying, oh, it all comes up to luck at that point, like, with the level of control and precise control he should have over his curse techniques, I still think that's a little bit nonsensical, but still, retroactively making every single time Gojo doesn't land Black Flash make more sense, because it's up to luck for even him. And once again, adding more fallibility to Gojo, whether it be in his beliefs of other people's and or system mechanics and his strength and stuff like that, I think is important. Once again, Gojo, due to being rare in the back half of the narrative, then we have this whole little arc centered around him and Ghetto, and then gone for, what, 100 and some chapters? Like, I think it's literally over 100. It's well over 100 at this point, but like 100 some chapters of him being gone, retroactively making him less effective, I think it is fine. I think making him more fallible is actually a good thing for the character. Once again, showing that you can be strong, you can be the strongest of the modern day, but you cannot be perfect. And I think this is good stuff right here. And I do appreciate the fact that Gege does go to explain, like, hey, yeah, Nanami, he wasn't lying. He's got the most consecutive, but just because he's weaker. Because he's just not that guy. Gojo Satoru, when he lands a Black Flash, you aren't supposed to live. Unless your name is, obviously, Ryuman Sukuna, King of Curses. However, we cut back to the main day, and we see that everyone is freaking and geeking after Sukuna lands his second trundly-umptious Black Flash. Maki goes on to think, including the one against me, Sukuna, which is... I really wish we had, like, a time frame. Notably, Shibuya breaks things down into time frames, which is very, very important. Once again, Shibuya is a super delicate arc. But I wish we had, like, the time gap between Maki getting hit by the Black Flash and her reappearing here and now. I have no idea. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes. I really have no clue. The Kusakabe fight is super duper vague, and obviously Sukuna used Kusakabe as bait, and then we had all of last chapter. So it is a bit vague in terms of the time frame. But the fact that she ate one, bro. The fact that she ate one. And I know Sukuna's drastically weakened right now, but, like, his physicals should not be weakened. At least not to any insane degree. Like, to the point where he's still able to perception blitz Maki. If he really did numbers to her, if he was capable of doing numbers to her, I feel like he should, but at the same time, it's very likely, some brought up a fantastic point, that Sukuna may actually be holding back even still. Like, he may be landing black flashes, but he's only trying to land them for the restorative effect. He's not actually trying to land them to execute anybody. So, like, hypothetically, if, I don't know, you were holding back to 0.1% of your power, and that got multiplied exponentially, then, yeah, it'd still be bigger, but it wouldn't be too crazy. Meanwhile, if he was going all out and landing black flashes, obviously characters should be getting atomized, at least in my opinion. But once again, it's going off the old official multiplier, and if the multiplier can come into question because the time frame for black flash can come into question, I think ultimately it's all fine. And I still gotta give Maki mad credit for eating a black flash from the King of Curses. However, continuing what she says, Sukuna used black flash twice. The guy got hit. I love how, once again, I do love the fact that no one knows each other. Like, no one talked. Once again, it's kind of a, but then again, I can more so excuse it for Miguel and LaRue than I can for Satoru Gojo. But, like, no one talked over the one time skip. No one explained any background plans. No one explained any contingencies. No one explained nothing. Like, legitimately, I'm impressed people haven't gotten in each other's way more, considering no one knows each other and no one spoke. I don't know. I still admit, many things, of the many issues I have with the whole 1 month time skip, as much as I understand how it works for JJK's pacing, and JJK's never been a series about slow pace or anything like that, man, the lack of communication is crazy. But with that being the case, or not even just the lack of communication, the lack of utilization of prep time. That's the big thing. You had so much prep time. And while the King of Curses whipped it up in the kitchen, was studying, getting tech ready and prepared, and Kenjaku's whipping it up in the kitchen, getting tech studied and prepared, and who knows what Urume was doing, probably literally whipping it up in the kitchen, getting tech prepared, it feels like no one spoke. But with that being the case, we see that ultimately, there was a little bit. I clown him a little bit, but there was a little bit of communication. As Maki says, the other one hit, and the guy with him must be the helpers Yuta said might come. So they don't know because there weren't any pictures, but they do know that the cast and crew did arrive, which is one thing I do like more in the official translation. Because thinking of the TCBs, it's just like, who are these people? And we see Yuji go on to think, Sukuna might have recovered his reverse curse technique, like Sensei did. Who are the guy who got hit and the guy in the glasses? Which once again kind of makes it weird. So I guess Yuta just talked to Maki, but in character that does make sense. And once again, Miguel and LaRue weren't necessarily guaranteed to show up. They just did, because the conditions for their showing up were met. Why they weren't watching the battle with everybody else? But whatever. We see that Miguel says, this is bad. His condition is likely to improve. We should get out of here. Which I can't blame him for, but if there's one thing I will admit, and we'll go into that more later on in the chapter, but I do want to hint at it here, I do feel like Miguel, despite cooking quite a decent bit in 255, so far has been a little bit underwhelming. Like, sure, he did manage to redirect Sukuna's hands and dodge all his slashes and land a good hit on his heart, but like, it feels so unquantifiable, and he's just giving up immediately. I get it, he's getting up, not getting up, he's more so giving up for LaRue. Hold on. He's more so giving it for LaRue and the fact that Sukuna's recovering, but darn, dog. Like you danced around a little bit, and you tickled his heart. You barely did anything, bro. Like, legitimately. Ironically enough, by the end of this chapter, LaRue will actually kind of end up being more clutch than Miguel. The hyped up equivalent, and depending, I've seen discussion now, at least in terms of physical reinforcement and like close combat, a lot of people are just assuming Miguel's above Gojo based on Gojo's previous statements made about Miguel. So for a guy superior to Gojo in hand-to-hand against the King of Curses, he kind of didn't really do as much as I was hoping for. But once again, there's still more time. There's definitely still more time. I had planned to do a little bit of a ranking video about everyone's performances, but Miguel, he still has more time to cook. He did take no damage. And we finally see Choso just being like, oh, sweet mother of mercy, why? Why does this keep happening? I swear, I'm getting tired of it. Lord, help me. As he says, Yuji and the others must not be saying anything because those two are on Jujutsu High side. We need to cooperate with them and finish off Sukuna before he fully restores his reverse curse technique, which is smart. But that's the thing. One thing I'm a little bit wondering right now, what is the plan? I guess it's still to save Megami, but like, it goes back to the fundamental question, is he still worth it? Like, at this point, it's not just stopping Sukuna, it's also stopping the merger from happening. You know, like, the sacrifice of millions of people. And possibly the entire world. Like, that's the thing. Even with Sukuna getting set up for an awakening for Yuji at the end of this chapter, the merger's still a thing. And everyone's probably going to be tired after fighting Sukuna. Most likely. Maki got hit by black flashes. LaRue got hit by a black flash. Miguel hasn't taken any damage, but he's looking to be a bit fatigued. Choso's clearly going to be a bit fatigued, yet he got double-fisted. And Yuji's obviously going to be a bit fatigued, even with his insane amounts of curse energy that he has at this point. So, I don't know. I wonder what the general strat is. Especially considering with Kusakabe down, they don't necessarily have their main strategist. So I wonder if this is all, like, going according to plan, if the plan is completely switched up, are we out of planning phase, and we're kind of just winging it and hoping we can wake Megami up? I don't know. But with that being the case, Sukuna himself is in the center like, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby, peep the game. Oh, peep the game. You don't know about these games, bro. I can feel it. I can feel my toes. They're curling. They're curling, Yuji Todori. My toes. And we see, to celebrate the toe curl, Maki immediately goes to make his toes uncurl by slashing at Sukuna. But Sukuna does immediately react and block to her. Once again, you know, I hate to do this to my girl. You know, I hate to do it to Maki. But low-key, I cannot deny. Man, dog. Man. Not a single clean hit with FSK when he's actually paying attention to you. Maki, no. Like, once again, this is a super weakened Sukuna. But personally, I don't know what y'all think. I'm in the camp that we have yet to see Sukuna go all out. Even in his weaker incarnated state, just based on Urume's statement, the smiling, the lazing around, his clear willingness to take attacks and take risks in battle, I legit don't really think we've seen him do much of anything even close to all out. Like, at all. Maybe against Kashimo a little bit out of respect for Kashimo, but even then, that respect ended up being pretty disrespectful. So, to see Maki just not even be able to remotely tag him while he literally is 3 stumps, 1 arm, it's just unfortunate. Like, my stats. But then again, fitting into the Sneak Nation ideation, Maki, it would make sense for her to more so be effective on the assassin angle, where she's like slipping, bobbing, and weaving, and then. But right now, ironically enough, outside of Yuji, she's kind of her main DPS. Like, Miguel, like I mentioned, didn't really do much damage. Choso has yet to even tag Sukuna as far as I remember. Ino got sent out that window. He's gone. That man is not coming back. LaRue is picked up by Miguel. So, like, yeah, I guess technically the reason Maki's still moving so active and not just, like, disappearing for a little bit, letting Sukuna get his guard down and then just coming in to take a leg or something with the other arm, is probably just because Sukuna's like, I know where you are. I will not rest as long as you are here. Like, legit, that does seem like the most logical course of action, at least at this point, because Maki's the only one who can actually be like, Sukuna, oh, your guard's down, huh, buddy? Let me take that big toe. And she'd take way more than the big toe. She's at least taking the whole foot. But with the big... Yeah, she's taking the whole foot. But with that being the case, we see that as Maki's putting the pressure on Sukuna, kind of being the vanguard, leading everyone else's attacks, Choso hits the Hya! And he knocks out this whole section of railing for Ryuji Isadori to come in out of the sky, out of the heavens, and put Sukuna in his little roller coaster seat as he just... Hold on, let me hit it for the one time, Ah! He locks Sukuna in. Once again, I will admit, it does feel weird that Maki kind of just goes from, I'm gonna get you, gone. She just, she wholesale disappears. It confused me. It confused me upon the first read through, and it confused me on the review, in the short review, and it's confusing me again. I don't know what happened. Like, maybe it's out of fear for Yuji and Choso, like, worried that, okay, they're all close range to mid-range merchants, so maybe they'll get in each other's way or something, but, like, if there was a time to attack Sukuna while his guard was down, this would have been it, Maki. Take that other arm. But with that being the case, when you see that Choso, he's like, you know, I got it on me. And he prepares to aim them fingies right at Sukuna's dome piece. And we see, impressively enough, while Yuji pins down Sukuna and Choso locks in, prepares to absolutely go crazy buku bonkers, Sukuna does, like, one of two things. One, which is admittedly much less ridiculous than the other, but the ridiculous one is kind of funny. Like, I'm not Did he? I think this is meant to imply that he destroyed the wall. Like, these pieces of debris are all meant to imply that he just destroyed the wall behind him, probably like slapping his hand against it and using cleave, or just using dismantle from anywhere in his body. Like, it's very likely he just did that. But I find it infinitely more hilarious, the idea that Sukuna was just like, I'll fight in a human form. Why not? No, not even that. He literally was just like, nah, I'd limbo, and just dipped right on out of there and slid out of the grip right there. Because notably, while Yuji does restrain him, quote unquote, it is mostly the stub arms. Like, he could easily hop out of this or dive under and dip out, which we see him do, and that's why Choso whiffs the piercing blood. However, while Maki may have advantage in the Shadow Realm, she does immediately come right back out to start hawking Sukuna down. Once again, like, here's the thing. I'll give her credit. I'll give her verbatim credit. And, you know, Maki beat Muncher, so of course I gotta give my daughter credit. But she does manage to move him, which is more than a lot of other people can claim. Like, I think it's Gojo, Miguel, and Kusakabe. Yeah. I think those are the main three that have, like, thrown. Oh, Rika too, and I guess technically Yuta. Yeah, so actually, no, a decent chunk of characters have thrown them around, but just like straight physicals for Maki to dive through the building, just go to skewer him on the wall. Good stuff. However, Sukuna does grab it in time and stop it from doing any serious damage, and we see that unfortunately Sukuna. I'm not gonna say he has Maki's number, but let's say she's called enough. The house phone has been ringing for a little bit, because the moment Maki starts to put pressure on Sukuna again, he immediately is like, that won't work. You need to wake up, buddy. You're still dreaming. And proceeds to destroy the entire area they're fighting on. And once again, this is a pretty consistent, well, not necessarily, because notably, that one horrendous, diabolical, and devious speed blitz from earlier on does kind of do Lance a little bit. But like, wait, whoa, Lance? Whoa, where'd my brain go? Why did I say Lance? But once again, he kind of just knows. As long as he can get her in a scenario where she doesn't have solid footing, sure, they can both fight in the air, but it seems quite definitive that Maki will lose those engagements. The only time he hasn't immediately resorted to an air battle to deal with Maki was when he, like, perception blitzed and knocked out way with his man. So, like, still, like, those are the two times, but usually he goes straight for air combat, which I think is smart. I think that is kind of a direct application of experience versus ability, right? Like, both have the ability to hop off air, to fight on air. As Choso says here, what kind of movement is that? Is he using the air itself as footing? And I do find it interesting how he, once again, this is a official translation, so it's probably a little bit, but I do find it interesting that he says only he, as if Maki's not doing the exact same thing, but hey, maybe Maki, once again, maybe she snitched. It was just like, oh yeah, BT dubs, I can do this, that, and the other. But with that being the case, Sukuna's like, oh, your foothold? What a shame, bro. Wouldn't it be something sweet if I hit you with another one? And Maki was like, another what? And she got black flashed again. Like, you can call me a Maki meat muncher. I wouldn't even lie. You can call me a Toji toast taster. I would not even lie. It's purposeful. Like, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't think Sukuna's generally locked in properly against anybody. I don't think he's had the iconic the iconic gamer lean moment where he's like, hold on, let me lock it. I don't think he's had that point yet. I think he's gotten close to it when he felt fear for the first time in 1,000 years, but other than that, I don't think he's really been pushed to it. But for some reason, I know it's not some reason, I know it's because of the whole, like, sorcerer versus the flesh thing, but, like, Tog. Why? Like, why does it always... I know I can't say always, it's only twice. But, like, it always seems like he gets in the most serious, the most dangerous, the most devious when Maki shows up and starts to do anything. First Black Flash, landed on Maki. Second Black Flash, landed because Maki showed up to rest his RCT. Third Black Flash, like... Maki... Yeah! But with it being the case, we see Maki doesn't just get hit by the Black Flash, because that'd be enough, right? Like, she doesn't need to get hit by anything else. Right? She doesn't need to... Yeah, but then she gets 2 dismantles straight to the torso. God, like, and notably, you couldn't definitely chalk this up as, like, a Maki downplay, I guess. Like, you could technically with the 2 slashes here. But, like, I still think that what Maki immediately says kind of not necessarily debunks, but or keeps out the narrative that Maki is especially fragile. Because I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, Maki's cooked. But she is very, very much conscious, and she does have a healing factor. And we see Sukuna straight up admits, yeah. Oh yeah, he getting stronger. So, like, the danger levels are ramping up again. With Sukuna getting his juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious gains back, he's inspired me to take a sip. The sip was scrumptious. Drink your water, folks. But with Maki getting absolutely nailed by this Black Flash into 2 dismantle combo, she does note that the output of his normal slashes is also increasing. Which is interesting. I guess she can tell somewhat, but, like, I can definitely see how woman uses this as an anti-V, because she's able to dodge and react to all the slashes previously. Why not these 2? I'm going to chalk it up to... I don't want to just say plot. I really don't want to just say plot. But, like, I am going to chalk up the whole idea that Maki can eat these 2 and output is increasing and all that. I can buy it knowing Sukuna's mentality and his willingness to play with his food. Without that, I don't think I'd buy into it as easily. But yeah, it's got me. It's got me. And we see that with the normal we gotta talk about it. I do like the explanations that people gave for this weird drawing of Sukuna. The idea that this is supposed to represent, like, his shrunken state due to the nature of his arms being chopped off and his body's kind of, like, folding into itself. It does work. The thing is, though, you think it'd be backwards. It looks like the lower arms are extended out further out than the upper arms. But regardless, it's fine. I won't go too deep into a rant about it because the people did justify it, and once again, it is a very ominous image. Does it have the crazy next level presence as a lot of Sukuna panels? Not necessarily, but it's not an offense to humanity, like some of my drawings are. So, like, we'll leave it be. We'll leave it be at that. But with that being the case, we see that Sukuna is not alone now that he's landed this Black Flash, and also managed to land those dismantles on Maki Zenin. Choso's like, oh, you forgot I was here, didn't you? And immediately hits the buckshot supernova to try and do something to Sukuna. And this, it's a valiant effort. Like I get, like, just thinking about it, like, dude, there's no way. There's no way Choso, like, part of me is still very 50-50 on whether or not Choso should make it to the end or not. I'm not sure if he should be character development or if he should be kept away from character development. I'm not sure. With that one fake out towards the end of his, I could definitely see... I can see Choso getting sacked. But at the same time, I feel like we spend so much time on Choso that we can't sack him. But is he, like, main character tier or even, like, important side character tier like Maki is to Yuta? Or... I don't know. But with that being the case... We see that Choso uses Supernova in an attempt to, ward Sukuna off. And then Sukuna's like, really? You thought that would work against me? And immediately sends out 2 slashes. Or actually, I think it is 3 slashes here, because this is an entirely separate drawn line. And then there's these 2 cross slashes right here. And we see that ultimately, Sukuna's just like, it's always the slashes they pay attention to, never the chef. And immediately turns to see Choso right there, and Choso turns to see him. And Choso's immediately like, what? Huh? He got behind me faster than his flying slashes. Which is crazy. And once again, it does kind of end up confirming a common theory that's been around for a while, that all of the moves are kind of just like weird quirk extensions, but since he has 100% one for all, he doesn't need to worry about everything. Whoa, where's my brain going? One for all? Lancelot? I don't record when tired, kids. You will mix up series horrifically. But Sukuna being faster than the slashes. This has kind of been hinted at for a while now. Like a while. Like, notably, it can go all the way. I could say you could go all the way back to the Maharaga fight. The first Maharaga fight. where we see Sukuna send out his slashes. Mahoraga adapts to the phenomenon. He's able to knock them away. But Sukuna is still, after that point, very consistently able to tag and dodge and knock around Mahoraga anyway. So I do think it is entirely possible, entirely reasonable for Sukuna to be faster than the slashes. Of course, once again, we're kind of in the dark on whether or not the slashes have uniform speed or vary with output. So, I'm not sure. But with that being the case, we see that Choso's like, oh no, he's about to spread me. No, I don't want to be spread. But we see that he has no choice in the matter. Sukuna really said, you will spread it. Just like Urume did back in the Heian era. Boy, and slams Choso against the wall. I don't know, there's something so hilarious, but Choso literally hits the uh-oh. Like, dude, you want to get gut checked by the king of curses? Is uh-oh really the word? Is uh-oh really the word? Is that the word of the day? Is the word of the day uh-oh or something? Choso, why'd you drop that one? Of all ones. But we see that Sukuna's like, you know I can wombo combo into these things at this point, right? Throws Choso into the wall and immediately black flashes him. This is another thing that I do like was brought up in the comments. Because I was kind of wondering, like, dude, how did Sukuna, like, completely whiff here? Choso's guarding his face, but then Choso manages to drop out this whole shield in time that's clearly on his chest. But I do like two different ideas and kind of merging them together. The one idea I saw in the comment section was the hypothetical that Choso was kind of baiting Sukuna to go for the gut by covering his face. So then instinctually, as Sukuna got close, he went. Because it's not like the easiest shift, but it's a feasible shift from this position down to this position in time in order to catch Sukuna's punch. And once again, I do like the idea that maybe it isn't a 2.5 times multiplier, and or that holding back extreme amounts are going on here for characters to not get immediately atomized. Because don't get me wrong, love Choso, the man literally got double donated at the start of this very fight. Like he hasn't been pulling up these kind of defensive numbers before. This is a crazy Dura feat, a crazy reaction and Dura feat. It's a literal beautiful scrumdiddlyumptious wombo combo of deviousness and craziness that Choso manages to eat this pretty large too. Like this is no tiny one. This black flash and block it with his juice. Stop. It's not everything has to be a joke. But like, darn. Yeah, like that is still absolutely insane to me that Choso managed to just grab it as well as he did. But we even see Sukuna realize like, intriguing. I didn't think you had it in you. What you cooking? Well, in fact, I think I have a good idea of what you're cooking, good sir. I think I have quite the stratagem. As he realizes that Choso essentially use the blood to soften the damage. Now, do I think blood should have a like 2.5 times? No. But I do once again think that Sukuna holding back in combination with Choso fainting him and Choso having the ability to reinforce a whole chunk of his body with cursed energy, not just the entire thing, I could definitely see like I'm trying to think. My brain just completely glitched out there. Blood manipulation to decrease the damage. I think it's fine. I think it's fine if we just assume that Sukuna is just massively suppressing his AP. And thusly, it doesn't necessarily matter all too much in the grand scheme of things. But with that being the case, we see that Ryoen Sukuna doesn't have long to consider his whole little situation here with his punch getting blocked as he gets boom! Glass straight across the face by the Prince of the Darkness, Yuji Itadori, who does send Sukuna pretty far back. So who's the club now? Who's the club? It's Yuji, Maki, Yuta, Rika, Gojo, and for hand form in particular, I think that's really... Oh, Kusakabe also. So 6 people have been able to start knocking Sukuna around. Which, once again, due to their variances in levels of power, I do think is just more and more evidence that Sukuna is still messing around. Which is crazy, but once again, I'll talk more in its own video, essentially, when talking about Sukuna holding back and how he's holding back and why he's holding back and how it fits into his character, how it doesn't fit into his character. But we see him get knocked back, still armless. Well, at least half armless. And he's only half armed. I guess, like, not necessarily, he's only a quarter arm, now that I think about it, because he has 4. Well, with that being the case, Yuji knocks him back. And we see that Yuji gets a little bit of hype from Choso internally. He says, that's it. No matter how much he tries to remove or improve his condition through Black Flash, Gojo Satoru is a cursed object, bound deeply within the binds. Wait, where am I going? What is happening? I swear, I'm so sorry. This is one of the most scatterbrained reviews I've ever done. My brain is leaping it's turning every which way but loose. With that being the case, it's entirely possible that in spite of every Black Flash Sukuna has landed, 4 so far at this point, none of them really matter because of Yuji, which is very, very big. The fact that Yuji's soul punches are able to negate the effects of Black Flash entirely, good stuff. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love it. But with that being the case, we see that Choso and Yuji do a trade-off that will matter in a bit in terms of talking about Yuji's hypothetical abilities. But we see that Miguel has picked up LaRue and is like, we are leaving. Let's not do all this. This is not worth it, bucko. And we see that LaRue is like, no, Miguel, there's a lot more left to do. Which I do like. Once again, this is a good thing, and I like Gay's character writing here. I can fully understand both sides. I can understand the side of LaRue that's like, we still need to stay here and fight. And I can also understand the side of Miguel who's like, dude, it's clear if we stay here and fight, we are not going to live to fight to see another day. Like, this is not happening. So I do like how that dynamic ends up playing out here. And we see that Yuji and Sukuna, they're warming up. A lot of people, myself included, do believe the next chapter will just be a straight mink, kick, mink, hand sesh. And this seems to be the start of it. Yuji and Sukuna just start viciously scrapping, like violently scrapping. And one thing I do like about this, and its variation of scrapping, is that it does feel so personal, it does feel so linked, because it's literally on top of a person. And we see that ultimately, things, they can never, ever, ever go well. As we see, what is my brain attempting to process right now? Yuji actually grab Sukuna as Sukuna tries to grab him, but not necessarily grab him in the way you think, because Sukuna goes to slam dunk him into the ground, only for Yuji to be like, you remember this one? I bet you do, bucko. You know what time it is? And he immediately wants to start blasting. But we see that ultimately Choso reveals that Yuji can't use convergence very well. It doesn't mean he can't, but it does mean he can't use it very well, which is a pretty massive nerve. You can only use it with that one specific sphere of the fight. I'm not gonna... You know, we won't. But with that being the case, my brain is legit jumping everywhere. I'm having Fire Emblem thoughts, I'm having Kingdom Hearts thoughts, I'm having Persona 3 thoughts. Why is my brain... But with that being the case, Yuji ups it. And I do find it interesting that Yuji can control Choso's blood. Because remember, that's not his. And very specifically, Supernova seems to be born of your own blood, I think. But I don't know. That's interesting. My brain, now it's going to Naruto. My brain is everywhere. But with that being the case, we see Yuji up it against Sukuna. And to Yuji and Sukuna's credit, Sukuna, less to Sukuna's credit, obviously, but Sukuna does manage to dodge a decent chunk of it, but he does still get nicked by Piercing Blood, which I think is the first time he's taken a hit that he didn't initially or intensely guard, like against Kashimo. So, interesting. But with it being the case, we see that Sukuna manages to weave, and Yuji is unfortunately not able to weave these hands that get thrown at him, and he gets knocked back. Meanwhile, it gets absolutely crazy. Yuji is like, hold on, I feel it. This sensation in my head. Is this the spirit of locking in? Is it time for me to awaken? And we see that it may in fact be that time, as Yuji Tadori, he gets ready to deliver a finishing blow. If not a finishing blow, a major one. And one thing I do like here is how sorcerers can kind of like feel it. How they can kind of feel it in their bones that critical hit is coming. Immediately Sukuna's like, something's up here. As the narrator says, in Shibuya, there was Mahito, who had a feeling of what it meant to be a true, strong sorcerer. Whoa. Where am I getting these words from? But in Shibuya, Mahito had a feeling that Itadori would induce Black Flash. And now Sukuna's experiencing that same feeling. So, the feelings of Mahito, someone infinitely lesser than Sukuna, are still haunting Sukuna. And those sensations are universal. I do like that. Once again, giving Black Flash this more universal system mechanic kind of feel, where it does genuinely feel like a critical hit chance that's entirely up to luck that you can't really build around, even with the 6 eyes. It's very, how do I put this? Interesting. Let's go with interesting. But we see that as Sukuna locks in and is ready to deal with the Black Flash that Yuji's about to send his way, suddenly he feels, is this? Is it love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Never. And we see that all the way from across the room. What? I can't take my eyes off that sorcerer. And Miguel and LaRue stand by. Miguel holding LaRue. As LaRue says, Hot Catch doesn't just bring bodies. Cutie, honey, look this way. Once I've grabbed onto an opponent, I can even grab his heart. Which is a very, very good thing. That's a nice, smooth setup opportunity. LaRue could be good, very good for support. Imagine LaRue with Toto, swap in place with the hand and LaRue. It goes stupid. But with that being the case, we see that it's far, far too late for Sukuna, as he immediately gets nailed by a Black Flasher, which has the due process of awakening Yuji Itadori. Black Flash releases Yuji's potential amongst a shower of black sparks. Yuji Itadori has awakened. So, we have awakened Yuji. Finally, finally, finally. Overall, this is a very, very, very W chapter. I'll talk more about Awaken Yuji in his own video. I do want to give him his own sort of street cred. I just want to cover this chapter in the review, though maybe I shouldn't have done Sleepy, because I feel like my brain is leaping all over the place. I probably missed some points. But with that being the case, a very, very solid chapter. Good for scaling, good for durability, good for clarification, good for kind of debuffing, yet simultaneously buffing. Overall, a really, really, really solid chapter. However, well, the chapter is worthy. If you somehow made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave dreamers in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know myself on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon below, or you can support me for as low as $1 down month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also want to become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the 36-minute live reaction to this very chapter, ad-free variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 Patreon and $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, if you want to do a one-time donation or a one-time video request, the link to my Ko-Fi will be in the description down below. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dag of the Pencil, writing off. I would like to give a thank you to all $3 members: O'Connor Plays, Greyhound, Atkins Void, Astro, Eternal Flame, Querencia Atala, Red Wolf 4765, G Prosper, and Paris Arnold. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons: Steron, Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Marcus, Kevin, and Igneo. And I'd like to give a big old thank you to our $7 members: Autumn Mornings Lazo and Sick Addiction. And I'd like to give a big old thank you to our $10 member, Robbie Uchiha. And I'd like to give a gargantuan thank you to our $10 patrons, Panda Goat, Joaquin, and Idemokami. And I'd like to give a gargantuan scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our $25 patron, ChinaDoll09. And I'd like to give another gargantuan gargantuan I have no idea what that word is. Thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.